but he hates me, and I don't know what he thinks about you. Mysonne.
Lefty, gun up in his right palm. And they sleep so they die calm. Killer be killed. That's the shit that I'm on. It's desperado style. Shooting at him, sidearm. I'm going. You mean the dope like heroin? Mysonne, the first time I heard Mysonne was the same day I went to go do a jux. Got my first Rolex. I ain't gonna say the brother name. Me and Mysonne, like some of the dudes that Mysonne look up to, I was committing crimes with. I ain't gonna say his name because I said it before, whatever the case, but this dude fighting to get his freedom, so I'm gonna slow it down. But yeah, the first time I heard Mysonne, I was a fan of Mysonne, of his music, a fan of him. Always been a fan of Mysonne and his music, until I seen the hypocrisy in this nigga.
I saw just like, and by the way, I really didn't even have an issue with him. I felt like instead of tackling, you see what I like about you? You tackle
everybody,
the real issues. You're not scared of like, oh, you know what? These guys, if they see me, they're gonna beat me up. These guys, they're really tough. These guys, they will give me a wedgie and I have the toilet water. You're like, what's up? The thing with Mysonne, I think he goes down a list and he says, well, I could talk about what Jim Jones is doing, but nah, they're gonna beat me up. What about this guy? Oh, he might do some stuff to me. And he go all the way down the list. He even passes your name. I should get this Hassan Campbell guy. Nah, he might do something.
No, he just write raps about me and talk about me indirectly. He's not going to say my name because he feels like I'm bigger than Mysonne now. I needed Mysonne's help with the Africa Bambaataa situation, right? He promised me he was going to help me. He never did. He ignored me. Then I started watching the hypocrisy of the topics that he touched on. He always picked on, like Trinidad James. Everybody that Mysonne challenges is a sucker. The only reason why he stepped up with Wack is because Wack bullying him is like, all right, I think I can fight Wack back right now at this point or whatever, because he think Wack is vulnerable. There's a lot of stuff going on with Wack, but Wack ain't no sucker. So now, I've sat back and watched him handpick like a bitch all the dudes that he's going to deal with and the topics that he deal with, and it started eating me. Mysonne reached out to me. He looked at my Instagram page and he seen my co-defendant. He already knew I was fucking with X in him, but when he seen Eric Bennett, see, Eric Bennett is an old school name. Niggas like this.
Is Mysonne a street nigga? Like, is he like a gangster? Like, I can't tell what he is. So, no, real talk. Like, I don't know if he's... the way Mysonne talks to me, he talks to me like he's a killer. I'm going to be very honest. Listen, that's what I'm being honest.
Mysonne, in his younger days...
He was a menace.
No, never a menace. But he will fist fight. He will throw his knuckles up. Mysonne is not a sucker. If you had to go somewhere and have a fist fight, Mysonne gonna throw his hands up depending on who you fighting. Because like I said, in his earlier days, he got smacked and drank through in his face. In Bronx River, not in Bronx River, but he was in a bar. And when they threw that drink and smacked him, he was like, why you doing this to me? It's Nigel's fault. He was crying like a little bitch. At that same age, you couldn't throw a drink and smack me in my face. Your whole family would have died. I was a menace. Mysonne has never been a shooter. In order to beat that nigga in New York, you have to... Mysonne ain't never shot nothing. Free at last! Free at last!
Mysonne was talking like he got like 10 bodies, man.
Mysonne ain't never shot nobody.
Yo, hold on, yo.
Mysonne ain't even...
I thought Mysonne was the biggest killer out of New York until somebody told me he did some time for robbing a cab driver.
Mysonne ain't never killed nobody. Mysonne was a nice nigga that could rap, that was able to fight in elementary and junior high school. My brother Eric Bennett loves Mysonne. He hates when I talk about Mysonne. He loves Mysonne. He loves Mysonne. He loves both of us. Mysonne reached out to me to squash the beef. I squashed it with him. What started it back up is when I seen Tamika Mallory and Mysonne on the news talking about let AutoZone and Target burn. And then I went outside in the Bronx and seen all of those young kids burning down mama and pop stores and like laundry mats. They was breaking in stores that was owned by Latinos and Dominicans. Most black people don't have a store in the hood, but the Africans do too. So it wasn't the stores that was owned by, you would say, the white people. A lot of the stores that was
own.
affected
People of color.
was the people of color. And then you telling them to do this, and you know that they got this security system where they going to come get these kids for the crimes that they're committing. So when I tried to reach out and didn't get no response, after I promised, like, mind you, I started beefing with Gully TV. Shout out to Gully. Shout out to Doggy Diamonds, man. Doggy Diamonds is a legend in the game that, you know, he paved the way. Certain dudes paved the way for us. They never get no shine.
Somebody just said that Doggy Diamonds, his channel got like taken out.
Today his channel got hacked.
Okay.
And one thing
I hope he gets his channel back.
Doggy been rocking. He been rocking since Biggie, the Biggie era.
Damn.
He's been putting in work since the Biggie era. You got dudes like Sub-Zero. Shout out to Sub-Zero. You got dudes that was actually putting in work. So for me to be where I'm at right now, I'm honored. But Gully said some shit. Yo, it was funny. He was like, yo, we gonna give mysonne the K-Shine, is he dead kick because your career's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when you said that, when you called them an ambulance chaser.
Well, I mean, like, that's
I
what I
know academics is watching me. When you called him the ambulance chaser.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like, man, when it comes to like mysonne, right? Man, I feel like it's so non-constructive for me and him to go at each other. Chances are, it's probably like really a low percentage we're even gonna run into each other. Even though, like, I'm here in Jersey, he's in New York. Like, we're not even in the same circles. It's none of that. But, like, truth be told, I don't even think he's one of the people who want bad for the community. My only thing with mysonne is that he tries to be a leader. Everybody wants to, like, almost fill a Nipsey Hussle void, but they're unwilling to go at the people necessary to wear that.
Is the ultimate sucker. That nigga is so full of shit, it ain't even funny. I got a tape recording that I keep in my phone where Dr. Khalid Muhammad breaks down how these fake activists and artists gets locked up by appointment, they come home. Every time mysonne get arrested, it is by appointment.
He got locked up recently, didn't he?
He got locked up and it was a photo op. Let me explain.
What do you mean?
It was a photo op. It was fake.
No, that don't happen.
That shit, yes it does. And Khalid Muhammad broke it down. That's why Khalid Muhammad stepped away from the Nation of Islam, because he was saying too much. When you start to wake up, first and foremost, right? What message is you teaching black children when you sit up there and you see a black child get shot by the police? Then you go get your cardboard box. No justice.
The picket sign is always there.
No racist police. So now you got the picket sign. And then, hold up. Somebody's mother's crying. The child is in the freezer. Doctors done did the autopsy. The organs done been passed around. And you got mysonne running with gangbangers. You pull up to a specific place. Put your hands behind your back. Look at the camera. Freeze. Pose for the picture and go to fuck the jail. So you mean to tell me this black activist, because I'm a revolutionary, you mean to tell me this black activist is teaching a new generation to be enslaved? Because under the Constitution, if you are in prison, that's the only time they have the right to make you a slave again. When the system systematically kills your children, go get a sign, protest, and when the police, hold up, you didn't even commit a crime while you protesting. Free at last, free at last. God almighty, I'm free at last. Then you sit around and you say, hold up, the police is waiting for you to put your hands behind your back. They let you take the picture, tick, tick, and then you go to jail. What you teaching our children? That's not the Gullah Wars. That's not how Haiti, when they rights back from Britain, the British.
Well, I personally think he's doing it for his check.
The check? And you know the crazy part about it?
I have a whole thing with it.
What?
Listen, I mean, you mentioned it before, like these like 501
501c3.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
pretty much. My son does not get paid for music.
Vlad.
Like, I've analyzed his whole music career.
Vlad.
My son doesn't get paid more than $250 per month.
Vlad was helping. Vlad was helping my son with bills. My son told my brother, Lord Akim, mutual brother that we had, he sat up there and told Lord Akim
Vlad told me that
he living in one of them George Jefferson buildings now, $1 million buildings. Tamika Mowry, Cadillac commercials. She was on welfare. You went from welfare with no job to riches. Everybody, the female, the head of Black Lives Matter, this chick went and bought houses all around the world. Meanwhile, Tamir Rice's mother is saying, y'all just robbed the dead. So now it's not Hassan Campbell calling them out. Tamir Rice said, y'all use my child and other black people, children, to get ahead. Meanwhile, the real leader of Black Lives Matter, Darren Sills, and those brothers that came along with him, all of them was assassinated. Mind you, Tamika Mowry is the protege of Al Sharpton, FBI agent Al Sharpton. FBI informant. The news put Al Sharpton out there as an FBI informant. One of the first cases where Al Sharpton realized he could get the bag off of Sharpton's protege.
wow.
Tamika Mowry is my son's big homie.
And my son is like the picket sign holder.
He's the picket sign holder.
The ambulance caller.
The ambulance chaser who won't chase the dead bodies of black rappers and help stop my son. If my son would have joined forces and sat down with academics the way I'm doing right now, he would have became one of the most powerful voices in the United States.
He's full of shit.
But because he's scripted through George Soros and Black Lives Matter, talking about he's until freedom. Well, until freedom is supposed to be the voice of the people. How do you? I challenge, and my whole thing is like this, right? For my son. My number one question for my son and Tamika Mowry. Let me talk to you. Can I talk to you for a minute? How do you realize that Antifa infiltrated your movement while y'all was marching and started vandalizing all of the communities where the black people lived at, burning down our stores, our communities, and then you didn't tell the young black children Antifa infiltrated our movement. Cease and desist. Do not do no more because the feds is watching. And Antifa was paid to do this, but they also paid our children to do this, where some of our children is getting locked up still to this day because they was tracked through these stores, stealing cell phones and everything.